everyone, welcome to my channel. I am just Shawnee, and today we're going to be watching scary TikTok story times because it seems like you guys like the scary stories. I like them too, but a little scared, just a little scary, but that's why we're here. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that like, and ring that bell so you'll be notified every time I post a video. And go ahead and check out the product of the day is in the link in the description, the first link. Don't forget to check that out, and check out my t-shirt store. Got some pretty dope t-shirts. I literally buy every t-shirt that I design. I really do. I like my t-shirt designs. I think you will too. So let's just dive into this thing.
So this happened about a year ago, and honestly this sent me like spiraling into a hole, and I had so many questions about like the afterlife, and just made me realize that there's more to ghosts being out there. But basically, there was this one night I went to sleep, had no real intentions, didn't really try to focus on anything, just went to bed. And I ended up waking up in a dream, and in this dream, I'm in a moving vehicle, and I'm looking around, and I see that there's like teenage girls, and I can hear the conversation, and they're basically so excited, and they're sitting right next to me. And I'll get to that in just a moment. But they're basically driving to a party, and I'm looking around and I can see the girls are sitting next to me and they're like super into their conversation. And you know how in the back you have like 3 seats? Well, the friend was in the middle and then the other friend was on the other side. And then their best friend, I think, it seemed like they were all best friends kind of, was sitting in the passenger seat and her mother was driving. So they're talking about this party, they're super excited, they're on the way. And I'm just kind of looking around at them and I'm like, oh, okay, like that's cool. Didn't think much of it. I'm just chilling in the car with them and I'm looking at the window and we're cruising when all of a sudden I hear and I turn around and these girls are all up on each other, like we're very close to the door, scared like this, just staring at me. And I'm looking at them and they're just staring at me and I'm like, what? And it's like not processing to me yet. And then the best friend that was sitting in the passenger seat, she realizes that her friends are quiet, they're no longer engaging in the conversation. So she turns around and she's like, what are you guys doing? And she sees her friends and they're all like this in the corner, like a leg is up and everything. I remember it vividly. And she looks over at the other side of the seat, which is where I was. She sees me and starts screaming. They're all screaming at this point. I look down and I'm like, oh, they can see me. And I can see myself. I'm like kind of see-through-ish. And the mother's yelling. She's like, what's happening? What's happening? And they're like, there's a girl, there's a girl. And I just remember that moment, I like woke up and I snapped out of it. And until this day, I just think about it and I'm like, that's crazy. I was literally somewhere else. And I was the ghost in this story. There wasn't anybody that I seen. I was the ghost. I was see-through. I saw myself. I could see through myself. And it's just crazy. And it's made me believe that maybe not all ghosts out there are actually ghosts. Maybe some of them are just people that are walking among us that are actually alive.
Bruh, I don't know why that was so funny to me. I guess because I can put myself in that moment in that car with them, like, who the frick is this person? Like, what is happening? Like, just start screaming. Like, that is funny. It really makes you think about astral projecting. Like, we've talked about that before, and the fact that like there's studies on it. Like, people are like really trying to focus on it, and then there's like people who study dreams. I just saw something about somebody who was studying and he found out so much information. It was just like, but of course they unalived him because he found out some stuff. And I'm just like, that's interesting. I was watching, was it a book? I was reading or listening to a podcast or something about this book where the woman she was in the mental insane asylum because her parents had died or something had happened. She went there and she would learn how to astral project in people's dreams and like enter into other people's dreams. And at the end of the story, she did it with this guy that she was a childhood friend, and they switched bodies. They like astral projected and switched bodies in their dreams and woke up in other people's body, and they're not their body. They woke up, she woke up in his body, he woke up in her body. I'm not going to tell you because you probably know about this book and want to read it, but that's what it was about. Basically, he took over her body through astral projecting. And it was saying that like when she astral projected, or I guess in the case, spoiler alert, he astral projected. He could see in real time what was going on in people's lives. Like people in the present time would feel and sense that somebody was there, but they couldn't see it. It was like, like what you would think of what would be a ghost. So yeah, I do feel like that was a real story, and I feel like it really can happen. And I, that's wild that she was just like, oh, y'all didn't know I was here? Oh, I wasn't supposed to be here? Oh, okay. Well, I'm here. I'll leave now. I'll leave because I see it. I see through myself. I've had some deep dreams like that where I was somebody else. It was like I had a dream where I feel like I've had this dream before, or I've seen it before. And I was actually the person in the dream. Like, it was so crazy because everybody was just interacting with me as if I was that person. They didn't see me for who I am. They saw me for who that person was. And it was just literally, I felt like I was that person. So we need to look more deeper into dreams and secret. We gotta move into shadows. But that was really cool. It makes you think about it. It's like, oh, well, maybe these aren't really ghosts. Maybe they're other people just, astral projecting. Really cool.
My grandma ended up seeing my viral Tell Me a Ghost Story video, and she wrote me a letter in the mail, and it's her ghost story, and I haven't read it yet, and I wanted to read it with y'all. So without further ado, here's my grandmother's ghost story. It's titled Joe's Ghost Haunted Our Home from about 1970 to the 1990s. We moved into a 100-year-old farmhouse in West New York in 1966. After purchasing the farm, we learned of the older farmer, who had died from silo gas in the old silo. This may have been in the late 1800s. The first 9 years, we lived on the first floor of the home. Around 1974, the oldest two sons were moved into the upstairs bedrooms. Sometime after they occupied the second floor, we realized there were indeed steps and sounds upstairs with no family member up there. At that time, we had to admit that indeed the house was haunted. We call the ghost Joe, since we bought the farm from Joe, the son of the gentleman who died here. We decided that the ghost was uneasy sharing the space with two young boys. We especially noticed that he descended the staircase. We would open the door and no one was there. Each family member of 5 had an experience they could not explain with the ghost. We finally realized that the family dog also heard the ghost. The short hair on the dog's back actually raised up, and he seemed very uneasy when the ghost approached. We felt the best thing was to just live with the ghost. He never bothered anyone. Although one son did feel the ghost had shook his bed. A dream? ? We will never know. The 3 boys all grew up and left home for adult adventures. It was several years later when I said to my husband, "Have you heard the ghost?" And he said, "No, I haven't." Around the 1990s, we knew finally Joe's ghost was now at rest. They claim a ghost is a person who dies very suddenly and is unable to find peace. Rest in peace, Joe.
That was cute. I had questions. I know I was supposed to just take it for what it was, but you know me, I have questions. Why did your grandma write you a letter? Why did she do that? But it was cute. I love that. I'm just wondering why she didn't call you up. Why she didn't see you? Well, she didn't see you a text message, but we can understand that. But maybe she wrote a letter and mailed it to her. That's the part. I don't get why she mailed it to her. Maybe they live in different states or different countries. Okay, we're answering these questions, but she's on TikTok though, so I feel like she could have texted because she's on TikTok. But okay, we're just taking it for how it is. It's cute. I love that she mailed it to her. I'm mad that there was a lot of gaps in the story. She talking about these 3 boys like they were not her 3 brothers. Like, did anyone else catch that? I thought this was a story about her. And the fact that we had to put some pieces together. I think she still lived in the house. Like, her family moved out, but she moved in with her husband. Is that what we got? We got that. We're not going to think about the details anymore. Let's get over that. The fact that there was a ghost and he didn't want to share his space with boys, no kids. He was just like, oh, these kids. And then he shook the bed. That's not scary at all. Just kidding, it really is scary. He shook the bed and decided all of a suddenly that he's just gonna disappear. He's like, all right, I'm out after 20 years. I've been here long enough. Peace. Like, okay, that's good. I'm glad he had his peace. Literally, he had his peace. So yeah, love that you shared that story with us, because we already know this is the original, the creator that started all of this. So go follow her. You get to see all the scary videos that I have in this video. Literally all the videos we've been watching, scary videos, is off of her stitch. So go follow her and you'll find out other videos, and you can watch it by yourself if you want, or you can watch it together, because this is what we're doing, because we don't want to get scared by ourselves. Okay.
I was actually surprised that my last ghost story got the reaction that it got, because I really didn't expect people to believe me. I don't really expect people to believe this one. It's less believable than that one, but I do have witnesses. I'm gonna keep this one quick, but to tell you this story, I have to tell you about the house. There's a ton of facts I can tell you about the house, but we're gonna focus on 3. 1, you could tell it had been renovated multiple times, like it wasn't supposed to be a house, or it had been some units or some other things. It was a few other things before it was meant to be a house. 2, there were, I'm gonna describe them as strange carvings somewhere in the house. I can touch on that a little bit more, but not for this story. Number 3, the next door neighbors already assumed that we moved in before we had moved in, because they saw lights despite the lights not being on, and heard music. I actually think that the neighbors were trying to tell us multiple different times that something was up, and we just didn't catch it until later. But there's going to be a lot more instances of things that it didn't make sense until later. My side of the house had the most activity. There's a little den area and then French doors, bedroom. The den area always sounded like a party was going on. Like it always just sounded like a party going on in the next room. Sometimes in the middle of the night we would just look at each other like, why is it just so loud? So much was going on. But by that time we were aware. This story happens before we were really aware. The relationship that I'm in now was new at that time. So we're talking on the phone late at night, cupcaking, falling asleep on the phone, all like the cute stuff like that. At this time, what I remember was I was falling asleep. He's like on a video game, not really looking at the phone, but like he's looking at the screen playing the video game. We talk a little bit like that. This was early on in the relationship. I didn't want him to see me looking crazy. So I remember being like, I don't want to fall asleep on the phone and he sees that I'm drooling or something crazy. So I'm laying down with my head on the pillow, but I have the phone next to the pillow facing upwards. So I can see him, but he can just see darkness because it's just pointed straight up at the ceilings. The ceilings were very high, so it was just darkness. Okay, I'm going to try my best to describe this. So I'm falling asleep. For some reason, I decide to open my eyes, and when I open my eyes, I see my eye on the screen, like fully on the screen. I see him, and in the little box is my eye, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, how did I move the phone? Like I didn't even remember falling asleep, but I'm just trying to figure this out. Mind you, this is like maybe 2 seconds of me looking at it and trying to understand what I'm looking at. I think my brain just wouldn't make sense of it. And I see my eye like slowly back out of the camera and fade into darkness. At this time, he's playing the game and he looks over. I see him see it as it's backing up. But he just like looks back at the game, and he continues playing the game. I'm starting to realize something is off, but it's still fairly new in the relationship, and I don't want to scare him. I'd never really talked to anybody about what we had been experiencing in the house unless you like lived in the house. But I was definitely not telling him because I didn't want to scare him off. So I'm like, if he doesn't say anything, I'm not going to say anything. And I hear him say something like, that's crazy. So I remember thinking, please be talking about something on the game. So I'm like, what? I remember you saying one thing, you remember you saying another thing. 'Cause I remember you being like, I just saw your face for a second. And you remember being like...
And I said...
So you said that first?
No, I said, why are you looking at the camera like that? And you said what you said.
Oh, okay. All right. So he says, why are you looking at the camera like that? And I'm kind of shook. So I'm just like, huh? And he's like, I just saw your face for a second. And I was like, no, you didn't. And I immediately shot straight up and took off out the room. There was actually so much about that room that I didn't talk to anybody about it. It just wasn't something that I wanted to talk to anybody about or even admit what was really happening. It wasn't until he started actually sleeping over and having his own experiences and then later opening up to me about the experiences that he had in that house that we started to put the story together and things started to actually fully come together. And I ended up talking to somebody who lived in that house about 30 years before I did, and she confirmed some things too. But that didn't happen until maybe 6 months after I moved out of that house. We didn't put together a lot of things until later.
Yo, that story did give me chills. Like, it's y'all, did you not feel it? I was just like, wait, what? The fact that he's still with her, bro, that's real love, because you already know if you set me up like that, knowing that I'm a scaredy cat, and you ain't telling me the stuff that you already know. Oh, hell no, those are fighting actions. No, well, in his case, break up actions. So you got a good one, honey. You have a good one, because he just stayed. He over here telling you what happened. Like, yeah, this is what happened, and I was just, weirded out. But yeah, Fred, oh, the research, the neighbors try to let you know, hey, we've been living here for a minute. We've been living next to this house, and we've been seeing things. I just want to let you know before you put that deposit down, without letting you know directly, indirectly let you know, hey, friend, yeah, I thought you already moved in here, yeah, no, friend. And you saying that everybody had their experiences, and there was a party, because I feel like she was the story where she was the waitress at that house, that restaurant house, and they was having a party at the restaurant house. Like, people want to party around you. The ghosts want to party around you, Fred. But yeah, no. When I heard that, if I heard that, literally, if I hear something, everything gets silent. I start breathing. I start, like, literally, this is me. If I hear anything that's out of the normal, I'd be like, and I go sneaking over there to check out. I'm checking out stuff. We're not playing these games, honey. I'm not about to get got. Nothing's about to sneak up on me and get me, honey. Like, no, if I can avoid it, we going there fighting. Like, what are we doing? So the fact that y'all heard this party going on, I'm just like, okay. Like, that happened. Like, no. And I understand what you're saying, what she was saying about, hey, I didn't want to share it with the guy I'm talking to. But me as a person, if I'm scared, you're scared. We're scared together. So we can be on this fight. This fight mentality, not no flight. We in this fight. We're making this plan together, and we're gonna stick to this plan. No one's getting left behind here. We are fighting this out together. We're scared, but we understand the goal. We understand the mission. We got it. So yeah, I would have shared that, but I understand if you really like this person, you would hide that. No, I don't. Okay, I'm putting myself in her place. Yeah, I get it. If you really like this person, you don't want to scare them because you think maybe eventually you're gonna move into, coming over. We're gonna move forward into coming over the house. But no, again, if I was him and that happened and you already knew what was going on, that would be an argument. That might have been an argument. That wouldn't even be an argument. I would probably just walk away. I would disappear, because it don't take much for me to be like, this ain't it. And that would have been, this ain't it. You had to move, because you just set me up. That part, I gotta get over that part, because that's a lot, friend. Nope, stop it. You went through this and somebody told you after the fact. I feel like if you would have did the research, the fact that it was 100 years old would have been enough. Like, that would have been enough for me. Like, it's 100 years old. I had to think about it, because I was like, the house I'm looking at now, how old is it? It's not 100 years old, but I'm still doing my research. You guys, do your research. Subscribe.